And afterwards, that is directly following, I want to talk to you about something even bigger. Namely...
This is Anakin Skywalker. The most powerful Jedi of his generation. The fastest. The strongest. He is the best there is. Perhaps the best there will ever be. The HoloNet calls him the hero with no fear. But fear lives inside him anyway, chewing away at the firewalls around his heart. Children on Tatooine tell stories of the dragons that live inside the planet's twin suns. Those that power everything from starships to pod racers. But Anakin's fear is another kind of dragon. A cold kind. A dead kind. But not nearly dead enough. Years ago, a minor mission had brought them to a fringe system. One so immeasurably old that its star had long ago turned into a frigid dwarf. Anakin couldn't remember what the mission might have been. But he'd never forgotten that dead star. It had scared him. Stars can die? He knew then that everything dies, and in time, even stars burn out. This is the kind of fear that lives inside Anakin Skywalker, the dragon of that dead star. Every day he wrestles with his dragon, but for all his strength, he can't push back. He's losing, and nothing can stop the ancient, cold, dead voice within his mind that whispered in his darkest moments, "All things die." But within his agony, an invisible hand stretched outward, and he found her, far away, alone in the dark. And for an instant, he was her. He was the beating of her heart, and he was the motion of her lips, and he was her soft words as though she spoke a prayer to the stars. And her purity, and her passion, and the truth of her love flowed into him and through him. And every atom of his being screamed to the Force, "How can I let her die?" The Force had no answer for him. The dragon did. All things die, Anakin Skywalker. Even stars burn out. Now, no wisdom of Yoda's, no teaching of Obi-Wan's, not one scrap of Jedi lore came to him that could choke the dragon down. But there was an answer. One he had, for years, hidden from sight. Anakin stopped. His agony evaporated. It was simple. All he had to do...
This year for Christmas I want the golden baby.
Was decide what he wanted. The dragon again tried to whisper a failure, of weakness, of inevitable death. But with one hand he caught it, crushed away its voice, and broke its power with a single effortless twist. "I am Darth Vader," he repeated, as he ground the dragon's corpse to dust beneath his mental heel, as he watched the dragon's dust and ashes scatter before the blast from his furnace heart. And you are nothing at all. He had become, finally, what they had all called him, the hero with no fear. This is Anakin Skywalker. This is Darth Vader. This is the fear of the dragon. But then you open your eyes, and the first dawn of light in your universe brings pain. The light burns you. It will always burn you. You can hear yourself breathing. It comes hard and harsh, and it scrapes at nerves already raw, but you cannot stop it. You cannot even slow it down. It is only when you start to speak, and another voice speaks for you, that you remember.
It's peanut butter jelly time! Peanut butter jelly time! Peanut butter jelly time! Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Now there you go. There you go. There you
remember all of it. The dragon that brought forth Vader from your heart to slay. The cold venom in Vader's blood. The furnace of Vader's fury. And the black hatred of seizing her throat to silence her lying mouth. And there is one blazing moment in which you finally understand that there was no dragon. That there was no Vader. That there was only you. Only Anakin Skywalker. That it was all you. Is you. Only you. You killed her. You killed her because when you could have saved her, when you could have gone away with her, when you could have been thinking about her, you were thinking about yourself. It is in this blazing moment that you finally understand the trap of the dark side. The final cruelty of the Sith. Because now, yourself is all you will ever have. You rage and scream to crush the shadow who has destroyed you. But you are so far less now than what you were. You are more than half machine. You are like a painter gone blind, a composer gone deaf. You can remember where the power was, but the power you can touch is only but a memory. Now, the shadow is all you have left. Because the shadow understands you. The shadow forgives you. The shadow gathers you unto itself, and within your furnace heart, you burn in your own flame. This is how it feels to be Anakin Skywalker. Forever.
There is more to the Mayan 2012 event that occurred that I should inform you all and those monitoring for any sort of details as to the effort put forth by their ancestors and what all happened for. There is more than what was predicted. The 9 temples I was searching for are all geosymmetrically aligned atmospheric shielding generators that were redesigned by the Atlantan colony after their system simulation computer detected a cataclysmic event to unavoidably occur. But it was so distant into the future that they had to build a self-automated system that was left on standby mode and set to engage a preset process that would basically create a synthetically generated atmospheric shield strong enough to repel the effects of a massive solar flare that would destroy this planet if something wasn't done to help protect it. They were familiar with these types of events and had the technology to help, but were not certain if they would still exist, for it was millions of years ahead from that time. Because of this, their systems also refused to engage in any projects they put forward because of the cataclysmic event detected. It rendered any terraforming or other projects pointless to begin here, since it would just be destroyed anyways. So instead of scrapping the project, they designed this alternative to preserve their project. To ensure everything went as planned and understanding the system may need assistance in its initial phase of repairing itself to gain optimum performance levels, they commissioned an operator who they would augment and send to be its maintenance drone and assist it in any way necessary. I am that operator, and this is the system I am a crew member for. After achieving success in activating the system, repairing it enough to achieve its goal, and deflected the solar flare at the last minute, the system informed me of other immediate threats that were a high percentile chance of becoming a danger. One of those were the 3 asteroids on a collision course back in 2014 that mysteriously changed course and struck Jupiter These asteroids were the ones predicted by your Norse legends called Ragnarok, as I understand it. In the aftermath of it, which I myself still have a hard time recalling everything that happened as it all happened so fast, but in the end it was concluded that in order to save this world and all, the planets in our system must survive, for if one fell out of orbit, the whole system would destabilize. Going through the database of the old outposts that used to be in this section of space, some of those posts were abandoned with most of the equipment not fully functional but still held power in. Their energy cells plus there were shielding generators still functional. So calculating the ratio and siphoning power from the outpost, I redirected the shield used to deflect the solar flare to set up a shield strong enough to dampen the radiation effects of the supernova field we were about to enter at the time that would have sent our entire system into chaos and destroy not only our world but many within our system. Though some of the effects still bled through, it was enough to deflect enough so that it wouldn't destroy us all. So if your systems detect a shield barrier that shouldn't be there surrounding the outermost edges of the heliosphere, then most likely its source can be traced back to its energy coming from Mars, Venus, one of the moons of Saturn, and many of the asteroids within the outer Oort cloud, as I reappropriated the old defense grid into an interlinked shield barrier for the cloud of stellar radiation that we are now passing through. The power levels would only last so long though, so I set the system to gather any communication signals it could and try to upgrade its data banks on power generators that are in standard use that could be adapted and built by the system easily. That's all I can say as far as what you would call a declassified report of current events on the subject of the Mayan calendar scenario and what occurred.
This is Max Headroom, and what you're about to witness is one of the most sinister-sounding intros to a trailer to one of the greatest epics ever produced in the history of television.
I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo, Magnifico! I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a poor family, sparing his life from this monstrosity.
And there's more, because you are going to see it as well.
Yes, it.
Yes, it. Yes, namely...